proud of the guys. We had to reorganize some things tactically from a defensive standpoint because they just set up in a completely different organization than they did the previous game, and we haven't seen much of them under Patrick. So we needed to reorganize a little bit in terms of our understanding of how we wanted to defend certain areas and certain players, and so it took us a little time. Unfortunate challenge from the wrong side in the box leads to a PK in the second goal. It's very debatable whether it came off his arm, and so we found ourselves down 2-0. But the guys, we reorganized ourselves, and the guys kept battling and competing and fought their way in one goal at a time. And we're pleased to leave New York with 4 points after 2 weekends on the road.
What kind of challenges did that system present that they came out with the 3-4-3? Didn't see that much in the league. Any you remember seeing that before? And what made them tough to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just a 3-4-3. It was a 3 and then a box in the middle of the field and then 3 guys. And so they overloaded the middle of the field, meaning that against our 3 they had 4. And so between Pirlo and Bravo, who was there were 2 guys sitting deep, and it was a matter of how we were going to reorganize getting pressure on those players, and so closing up the middle where we had a numbers deficiency, and being able to force the ball to certain areas of the field and close things off. And so again, we just had to reorganize a little bit because we started off with wingers, and we brought those wingers in underneath the striker and took away those spaces, and then we were able to organize a little bit better.
Do you remember anybody using anything similar to that in your player coach?
No, I mean, I've seen sort of a 4-4-2 that has a box, and I've seen 3 variations of 3-5-2, 3-4-3, things like that. But it was slightly different just because of the way they structured the 4 midfielders, which was slightly different. I thought they, based on the team sheet, I thought they might come out in something with a 3-4-3, but the wide players starting wide and then trying to get underneath between the lines, if you will. But they really just sat in between the lines. It wasn't really a matter of going from outside inside. They just sat inside. So slightly different organization. We had to make sure that we were accountable to people as much as anything because of the numbers deficit. And we just had to sort that out, and it took us a little time to figure that out.
Do you think the scoring the goal at the end of the first half really was kind of a momentum boost in terms of spurring you guys on in the second half, on ultimately completing the comeback?
Yeah, I mean, goals are, anytime you pick up a goal at the end of a half like that, it's a momentum for us because we scored it. It was important for us as a momentum builder for us because you go in, and when you're down 1 goal is a lot different than coming out being down 2 goals. You can reorganize a little differently. You maybe don't have to be quite as aggressive in your moves at halftime because you're still only 1 goal, and 1 goal is obviously easier to come by than 2. So you can kind of stick with the things that we had adjusted to and kind of let the half play out. And if we needed to later in the half, then we could become more aggressive if we needed to. But by getting the second goal, we didn't have to then overextend ourselves. We actually finished the game in a more defensive posture even than we started the half.
Coach, Marky Delgado came off the bench last week and got a goal and earned a start today. And just what's his progress? How have you seen his progress since last year? Where do you see his role on the team?
I mean, Marky's come along. He's very versatile. He's got a big engine, can cover a lot of ground. For me, he's a number 8. He's a central midfielder that can get box to box, but he can get out wide and play from wide positions. So for us, he just gives us some versatility. He covers ground from a midfield position in terms of the field, and he helps us with giving our group in terms of transition. If we want to transition and get out of a defensive posture and move forward, he has the capability of going from a defensive position to an attacking position quickly. So I think he's coming along very well. I think he's maturing as a player and recognition of things over the course of the game. And he also helps us because he plays very efficiently, 1 and 2 touch, and he moves the ball quickly and he keeps himself moving. And so he's, for me, I'm happy with his progression, and this year will be a good year for Marky to keep growing.
Coach, after a couple of defensive errors early on that gave up the goals or that led to them, the team, you could have understood if the team had crumbled a little bit. Could you talk about how confident the defence is or how calm it is, particularly the influence of Drew Moore over this past couple of games?
Yeah, I think we have a very mature back line now and guys who've played a lot of matches as professionals, and 3 of the 4 of them have played a lot of matches in this league in particular, and Damien now has a year under his belt. So Between those four and Michael in front of them, I think they're very confident. Again, for us was just, it helped them a lot once we started to get the organization of people in front of them, and then their reads became a lot easier. And you know what Drew adds to us is he's a communicator. He's a guy who plays outside of himself. He does his job, but he can move pieces around in front of him. He reads plays well, and he helps other players to understand where they need to be in given situations. So he's passing information forward all the time, and in the end that helps Damien as well, because that's not really Damien's priority or strength, is to be a communicator. Damien's a very good defender, but it helps him to have guys around him that are communicating and passing on information, because then he can just focus on his job. And so Drew gives us that kind of stability in the back line.